The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys!
This is Mick Shots.
Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
And here we are. Well, here some of us are. Yeah. Inside the SWBC podcast studio on Draft Day 2022. It's one of your earliest pregame shows of the day. There have been others that have already started, I am sure. But we are here to preview tonight's draft, and it should be a very interesting day and a very interesting weekend. And I can't wait to see what unfolds, Mickey Spagnola.
Yeah, everybody keeps asking me, so you going to Vegas for the draft? It's like, no, we never go.
You don't need to go to Vegas. You got it right here.
Happens right here at the Star. And by the way, even bigger happenings outside with the draft party going on. When I came in today, I walked by the plaza, and it's getting set up for the party. So the draft party, I think, starts at 6 o'clock, something like that. So.
It looks like we've got good weather for it.
And yeah, it was supposed to maybe rain this morning, but the rest of the day it's pretty clear. So yeah, it'd be a good day. And God, Bill, as I wrote in my Mick Shots column for last night, thank God this draft is here. It just seems like it's been going on forever. Ever since they lost on, what was it, January 16th?
That's right.
We've been talking draft.
You know,
that night started, by the way.
Yep. And for a lot of people, it started before the season because they like to talk draft all year long. And I'll plug this right off the top. At 11 o'clock on Saturday night on CBS 11 and other affiliates across the great Southwest and beyond, the Dallas Cowboys Draft Special will chronicle the lead up to the draft. And in fact, there's some great exclusive behind-the-scenes footage and of meetings here at the Star. Coaches and scouts talking about players and stuff leading up to it, on the road with scouts, Senior Bowl, Combine, Pro Days, and so forth. And so that will be, and of course, a recap of the draft as well. But the hour-long show will chronicle.
It's an hour.
Yeah, the hour-long draft special, the annual Cowboys Draft Special, has some pretty good stuff behind the scenes of just what all goes into this months-long process. And, of course, it's a year-long process for all the scouts.
Will they reveal what they were going to do before they did it?
Well, we'll have to see. We will have to see. And speaking of undrafted guys,
good one.
He showed up late for the draft. Now he shows up late for his show.
The draft was never important to Everson Walls.
Never. No. I hate it.
He wasn't worried. He wasn't worried about the first round.
I decided to be late
right?
Today of all days. I decided to be late.
Those priority free agents. There's going to be a bunch of priority free agents, and our priority free agent has just arrived on the scene, Everson Walls.
And there'll probably be more than normal with the amount of people in the draft today.
That's right. Yeah.
They tried to talk about this as being like a bum draft. Do you think that? Do you think it's
because the focus is on the first round. When people are talking about it being a bum draft, it's because you don't have the quarterbacks up at the top of it.
Or there's not somebody you just
there's not
got
a QB
to have.
There. There's not a QB
right.
there.
Jadavian Clowney, who you just know is going to have a wonderful career.
Right. Yeah.
So you don't think there are any Clowneys or T.J. Watts out there? I mean, a must
or
have.
J.J. Watts.
J.J. Watts.
Or T.J.
Or TJ.
When TJ's playing, either way.
So there's none of those out there to where you say that guy.
Well, we don't know that yet. So we didn't know J.J. Watt was J.J. Watt until he was J.J. Watt.
That's true.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think there's anybody you just got to have.
That's why we need to record this, and it will be archived, and we'll go back 5 years from now. Oh no, we didn't. There's nobody in this draft.
We'll just go back to
and then,
17 years from now when we had it, right?
And
in 2005.
Kayvon Thibodeau is a Pro Bowl, perennial Pro Bowler, Hall of Famer.
Yeah, but to him, he already thinks he is.
Yes, that's right.
And you know what? And I'm sure there's some guys that the teams look at right now where I just got to have that guy, right? We just don't know, because no one talks. And if they're talking, as Jerry said, I don't mind chumming.
It's not like last year's draft when Mickey Spagnola just got to have that guy. He just had to have that guy, right? And who was the guy you just had to have last year?
Who was that
the
guy?
Linebacker, Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons. From day one of the draft process, Mickey Spagnola says, I got to have that guy. And it was Micah Parsons. So
I think that makes him like 1 out of 1,500 or something.
That's right.
Oh, absolutely.
So who is it this year for you? Like for instance, for the Cowboys. All right, there's rumors because one of the ESPN guys had a mock draft that the Cowboys were trading up to 13 with Houston. And
that got it all started. Now the next report came out that they're going to 14, and the next they're going to 12.
So if there is a guy that you would trade a first and second round draft pick to move up for, who might that guy be?
If he has to go,
because the speculation.
If he has to go to the paperwork, then he's got to go low down the list.
That's what happens when you're picking 24th instead of 10th.
Right.
When the Cowboys were last year.
What is this body language we're looking at here?
Nothing. He doesn't like any of them.
Nope. Check. Nope. Check. Nope.
I don't.
What position? Okay.
It wouldn't be.
Well, you know what position it won't be. We know what position it won't be.
Guard.
Yes.
All right. So, what position would you trade?
Oh, it would have to be a offensive tackle.
Knowing the needs that this team has right now,
an offensive tackle, a defensive end, or a wide receiver.
Okay. All right, so I'll throw out this is not going to happen because now Charles Cross is talked about as being a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
But for some reason, Charles Cross falls to 13, and the Texans would take him. But if they've already taken their tackle, let's say at 3, and Charles Cross is there at 13, or which one of those wide receivers, if they're at 13, would you be interested in? And which one of the edge rushers, if they fell, would you be interested in?
Well, Thibodeau.
Okay, Thibodeau, if he fell, would be one that you would trade a first and a second to move up. It might take a first, second, and a fifth.
See, that's just too much. That's too much. That's why I
first, second, and a future.
Yeah.
You would take Thibodeau?
Next. I mean, that would be somebody that I think you would definitely take
based
a look
on
at.
talent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, what about his attitude? What about his?
Well, that part I don't know about. And then I guess the wide receiver to go up that high would be Drake London.
Drake London?
Yeah.
Okay. You wouldn't be interested in Jameson Williams because he's coming off an ACL.
So here's the deal on Jameson Williams. He's going to start the season on PUP.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't give up 3 draft choices and my first round pick, and he's going to come here and he's going to rehab all during training camp and probably miss at least – he may end up on PUP and miss the first 6 weeks of the season.
All right, let me ask you this.
Because there'll be another wide receiver. See, this isn't like the last wide receiver on the earth. Same thing with the offensive tackles. It's not the last offensive tackle on the earth.
Well, let's say that Jameson Williams, coming off his ACL, slides because of his ACL. And he is down there approaching 24. Okay, let's pick number 20, and all it takes is a fifth to move, or whatever it might be. Let's say a fifth to move up to get him. Move up 1 spot, 2 spots, or if you made it all the way to you, would you take a wide receiver at 24 who is coming off an ACL and is probably going to miss the first 6 weeks of the season?
So then 2 of my top 3 receivers aren't going to play the first 6 weeks.
So
exactly.
Right.
That is, I don't know. That's one of those shake your heads as well. I mean, the body
Not
language
for me.
has to be negative.
If Jameson Williams was there at 24, I don't care. I'm taking that guy. Because it's, you can find guys.
Where would you put him?
You can find guys. I would put him on PUP to start the year, and then when he's ready to go.
What would you like him to be? Slot? Would you like him to be?
He can do all 3
wherever he wants.
And that's
to
what
line
I
up.
got to have.
This guy, look at his speed. Look at the screen.
I know about it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This guy.
I've seen him run away from everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
it's jaw-dropping, the speed that this guy's got.
It seems like he toys with them when they chase him.
That's right. And that's why a talent like that.
This is one I saw. Yeah, he's toying with them.
Yeah, a talent like that or on end-arounds, goodness. I mean, it's like.
He can't stop running.
Stop.
It was too fast.
You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of Bob Hayes.
Oh, no, man, don't say that.
He
Don't
does.
say that, dude.
The way he runs
first of
away
all-
from people.
First of all, Bob had to work on his receiving, and then he became the amazing Hall of Famer that he turned out to be.
Yeah. Now
This guy's polished.
Now the thing that's interesting about him is that he was 4th on the depth chart at Ohio State, behind Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson and Jackson Smith and Jigba, who is still at Ohio State, and so he transferred to Alabama to be able to play.
I just still take offense. Watching Bob Hayes run is a religious experience.
That's right.
Okay, so let's calm this down a little bit.
Just the way he runs away from people.
All right.
That's the wow. What a talent that guy is.
Well, it is, and you have to judge it. And my understanding is that they did a recheck on him.
Yep.
And all the teams weren't on the virtual recheck, but the Cowboys were.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to add to your
speculation
there.
Well, you called the CeeDee Lamb draft, didn't you?
Well, it was a no-brainer pick.
Yeah,
I know that
you
much.
always say no-brainer. Yeah, when you like him.
Who thought he was going to fall to 17?
Right, I didn't think they were going to fall.
Right,
yeah,
right.
And they didn't either, because they were ready to take a defensive end.
Caleb on
linebacker. Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. So, but again, you have to understand he's going to start the season on PUP.
Right.
I mean, because he had his surgery.
I mean, it's like Michael Gallup. I mean, Gallup had his surgery in February, and he got hurt in the national championship game. Right.
So he's a month ahead of Gallup. Right. Mm-hmm. But still.
Or the Cincinnati.
And he said he's even
semifinal?
further ahead. He said his rehab is even further ahead of progress.
Yeah, but further ahead is fine, but still for guys.
You're anticipating. It would be a surprise if he were ready to start the season.
Yeah, because they're all to be top. It's 9 to 12 months.
What's this guy's dimension? What is his numbers? I mean, is he tall?
Well, I just happen to have a big green NFL draft scouting notebook here that has all the details.
Because here's the thing: we've got a lot of lean, diminutive wide receivers.
You know, you're going to say he's lean and diminutive when I tell you his dimensions.
I bet you will.
6'1.5", 179.
Yeah, I could jack somebody up like that, and he
doesn't look like he looks bigger than that, doesn't he?
Speed he wants.
Doesn't he look bigger than that?
But he can't get off that jam.
Doesn't he look bigger than that?
He looks smaller.
Oh, he does.
He actually looks smaller.
Okay,
He really does. That's why I asked you. He didn't look 6'1".
Maybe he looks bigger to me because he wears the hip pads up high.
Well, that makes his legs look skinnier. That's what it does. It makes him look slighter.
That's right.
His the number you have to worry about, his probable 40 speed is 4.3 something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's as a defender, that's what you worry about.
That's probable. He couldn't run it, and so it was actually with the way that guys were running 4.3s at this combine. His probable is 4.2 something.
Yeah, right, exactly.
He's young. He's going to be fine.
So he'll, and for my understanding is the surgery was clean, so he there wasn't any complications in there. But again, you won't get his best until 2023.
So let me ask you about another one. Okay, Charles Cross isn't going to fall. All right, Trevor Penning, the offensive tackle from Northern Iowa, who is projected to go mid-first round.
That was my dude.
Okay,
can he play guard too?
I think definitely.
That was my guy. Remember?
I think definitely.
He cursed me out about him.
He's
right?
got a nasty demeanor, and definitely he can play guard his first year.
Right.
Yeah.
You would be on board with that.
I could
first and a second move up to 13 or 14.
Yeah. What do you mean first? You mean another first?
No, you're
switching
first. Yeah, switching
and
first.
just giving up a second?
Just like you did with Mo Claiborne.
No, you're not going to move that far for a second.
You can go, if you look at the value chart,
okay.
The highest the Cowboys could go, if you look at the value chart, is to about 14 with a first.
Switching
their
places.
Their first, 24, 56, their second, and a fifth-round pick.
Yeah, I'm worried about the fifth.
I know. That's why I'm not. That's why I don't even include the fifth. Yeah, you can
Why are
have
you
the
waving
fifth.
your hand this way when you start talking about lower drafts and undrafted free? Don't dismiss me like that. I mean, I embody undraftedness, but come on, let's go. Continue.
Let's say, say you get Penning, right?
Right.
And then when do you deal with your problem at wide receiver?
Now you got 88. Now you got to
third round.
Now you got to take your fourth and third and move up about 10 spots is all you can move up with a fourth combined with your third to get David Bell from Purdue.
Okay, here's what I need.
So are you saying that with this wide receiver crew, if we don't draft anyone, how do you feel about?
Not very good.
Not very good at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. You don't think they have any capabilities of being competent as they were last year?
I think that.
And we're talking about just holding on for 6 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
And you got C.D. Lamb, James Washington, Noah Brown, Simi Fehoko.
That's not chicken liver, man.
Right.
You know, these guys are pretty
That's
decent.
if none of them get hurt.
If none of them get hurt.
And assuming that C.D. Lamb could be my number one guy.
Yes, of course.
Which we haven't seen yet. And
he's ready for that.
I think so.
Oh, he's ready for that.
But again, it's unknown.
Right.
But there are veteran wide receivers out there too.
And there's still some guys out there.
That market value.
So then after today,
there's veteran.
After today, then we'll know more. We'll know more about Landry, right? We might bring your boy back, since the vaccine mandate is lifted and no mask mandate. Will we bring him back? The name not to be mentioned. I mean,
Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley.
No, I said not to be mentioned.
Oh, I'm
Bill.
sorry.
Golly, man.
I couldn't. I was trying to think who you talking about. Oh, yeah.
So
I'm sorry, I spoke out loud. Did I say that out loud?
Yeah, you did say that out loud.
I didn't mean that.
Here's my premise. Here's what's got to happen. They've got to have a first-round pick that's a walk-in starter, right?
It seems that that's what you want.
And I don't, whatever position, because there's needs at about 4 of them. And then the second pick has got a challenge for a starting job. And the third pick has to get in the rotation at some position. Mm-hmm. Doesn't have to be a starter, but he's got to be a contributor. They need those 3 things. However they work it out. You give up your second, chances are the next pick is he a walk-in competitor for a starting spot in the 3rd round? I don't know. Or could he be a top 3 wide receiver on your team?
Let me tell you what you be ready for.
Is he better than Noah Brown? Let's put it that way.
Here's what you better be ready for. You better be ready for a slow start.
Oh, yeah.
You better be ready
to
for
the
a slow
season.
start to the season, yes. You're going to hope for improvement by some players that might be able to step up and do more than they've ever done before. Existing players, we don't have to go get anybody. Someone's going to have to. Brown's going to have to step up. The wide receiver Brown's going to have to step up. They've got to be better than what they've shown, and that is a possibility. Everyone doesn't have to believe in the narrative that's written on them. Some guys might actually step out and do better than what we say they are, because there have been some that have been teetering on, being better. Doing better.
So if, like, a guy like Dorrance Armstrong gets more opportunities, does he get more than 5 sacks in a season?
Yes.
And they're kind of banking on that, right? Can Dante Fowler return to what he did 3 years ago?
Right.
And play in a position he's more comfortable in?
It happens on every team every year.
And the safety position. Donovan Wilson, does he stay healthy? Is Malik Hooker further removed from his Achilles tear that he plays better? Because I thought he was just okay. And then at linebacker.
So you'd like to see him draft a safety?
At some point. No sooner than the 3rd round.
Okay, 3rd round, Nick Cross.
Yeah,
Maryland.
you said that. I got that written on my thing right here.
He said it a lot.
And that would be fine. But that's a position of need, and I mentioned last year Hooker on a 1-year deal. Well, technically, I got corrected on Twitter. It's a 2-year deal, but it's only 1 year of guarantees, so they can get out of it if he doesn't produce for like $800,000 in dead money. So it's no big deal. But it's really a 1-year deal. Donovan Wilson's in his last year, right? And he's a free agent. And even though you signed Jaron Kearse, it's a 2-year deal.
Kearse, the way they play Kearse, it's more
of a linebacker kind of slot
nickel
guy.
linebacker.
Yeah.
So when you look at it,
you name me a position, I'll give you a reason to draft it.
Yeah,
quarterback.
You can give a reason.
7th round.
Okay.
They don't have one though.
You could give a reason. You could give a reason to draft, but you also look forward to what you have here.
Right.
Those players that you signed
up.
in the past to step up. That's all I'm saying. If I'm one of those players and I'm a fringe player, this offseason, after what happened last year, somebody's got to be thinking, well, maybe I should play beyond what I'm getting paid. Maybe I should play beyond my reputation. Maybe I should work harder. Maybe I can see where I can be better. I mean, I know I'm not the only one that thought like that when I played. There's a million guys out there that thought like that.
There's a log jam of those guys at defensive tackle, right? Can Osa Odigizua take the next step?
Yes.
Is Tristan Hill, this is it, right? You either
He's a trade candidate.
Do or get off the pot, right?
Because he's going into his last year.
Right.
I mean, he's a guy that you move guys if you don't.
If somebody takes him.
Yeah, right. I mean, if you can get something for, I'm not saying in his case, but that typically is the time that you would move a guy if you've drafted a younger guy that, and it's going to create a logjam there.
Right, and so cornerback. They don't know.
We don't know what's going on with
Kelvin Joseph.
Right.
Can you count on it? Because, again, Anthony Brown in his last year. I don't know.
For that matter, Diggs has 2 years left. I mean, he's going to be a humongous contract here very soon.
So can Nashawn Wright step up and say, "Oh, okay, I can be your fourth corner"?
Those are the guys that I'm talking about.
Yeah. And
that's one of the guys.
The tackle, Josh Ball, 4th-round draft pick last year.
Right.
When we on the outside are making these declarations that they need a tackle, they need this, they need that, we don't know how the coaches feel about the progress of the guys that they drafted last year because we haven't had an opportunity.
Someone has has to progress.
Yeah.
That's
right.
the word right there.
Right.
Do we remain stagnant? I'm only going to be this guy the rest of my career.
And there's another guy that's down to his last shot too, Conor Mcgovern. Mm-hmm. And I was told he put on 15, 20 pounds and it was more strength than just eating, right?
I hope so.
But it's his last year. I mean, you're a 3rd-round pick. You either do it or
we've seen guys step
gone.
up on many teams,
right?
Especially on the offensive line. You could see offensive linemen who are 3rd or 4th year in the league.
Can Josh Ball be my swing tackle?
Right.
They were high on him when they got him.
Dalton Schultz was
round.
not really that good of a tight end 2 years ago.
And he improved.
And now look at him.
Right.
You see, so you've got players who've got pride, and they understand what their value is, even though we don't see it.
See, and that's what I pointed out Friday in my column.
Cedric Wilson was one of those.
Yeah. They're entering this unknown territory because what we talked about you would like, but you don't know for sure, right? And even, at linebacker, the assumption is, well, Jabril Cox. Well, Jabril Cox is probably not going to be in the beginning of training camp. If you can get him for the start of the preseason, maybe, but he's going to be rehabbing with Michael Gallup. And when they go out here, when they start on-field work, those two guys will be probably the only two guys, because of injury, not taking part. We don't know. Jabril Cox had 9 defensive snaps last year.
Right, and he played 1 year at LSU, and he played 3 or 4 years at North Dakota State before that.
Right. So can you count on it? We don't know. They don't know. They can project and say, he looked like he could do this, this, and this. But, okay, now let's see it, and he's going to get a late start. So
you want Devin Lloyd or Nakobe Dean?
Probably more Lloyd than Dean.
Okay.
I looked at his history. Dean, he's had a lot of little injuries in.
So he'll slide to the 2nd round.
Maybe. But then if you're giving up your second to go get Penning, then he ain't going to be there in the third, right?
We're saying we don't want to do that.
And as
right?
we look at it, I mean, let's look at the division we're in. Hopefully we can afford a slow start, because the
it's
NFC
a long season.
Yeah. Hopefully we can afford a slow start just because of the division.
Or maybe they'll just turn into a running team.
That would be nice.
Right?
That would be great.
Zeke's healthy.
I remember DeMarco Murray. How many times did he run him that year? 300 plus times?
To gain 1,800 yards?
Right.
2014?
Yeah.
All right. We almost filled a whole half hour there.
We could have kept going with the whole show.
And we will keep going here. And how much pressure's on this coaching staff to get this draft right? And Jerry, we know Jerry Jones listens to the coaching staff. Don't answer that question now. This is a tease, Mickey, when we come back on Mick Shots in just a moment.
Brace yourself for an existential question. Has your butt been having enough fun lately? Have you been treating it well? Has it been going places? If not, then it's about time you start using SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the best way to get your butt tickets to live events. Just ask the thousands of other butts who have rated it the #1 ticketing app. So what are you waiting for? Download the app now or visit SeatGeek.com to get tickets to sports, concerts, and live events and make your butt happy. SeatGeek. Get your seat in a seat.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching Grandma how to video call. And teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
Back to Mick Shots.
K-Post Roofing and Waterproofing, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. From corporate homes to your home. Have your roof checked by choice, not by chance. Call now. 214-225-4860. kpostcompany.com.
A chuckle from Everson there.
No, I think zero was. Thought that zero got kind of caught up in there somewhere.
I was going to go and then I said I'm going
there you
0.
go. Yeah, you extended that.
All right. How much pressure is on this coaching staff heading into draft day 2022? And does that affect? Jerry is always been one that he listens to. The coaches and scouts, but the coaches have a lot of say in what the final decision is, or at least he listens to them and takes their advice to heart as he makes the decision.
I would imagine they've already had their say,
right?
And they've gone through this, and I would imagine they have a game plan. So it's not like, oh, okay, Joe Philbin, get in here. We're thinking about taking an offense. Which one do you? They know.
I think some of that goes on if they're choosing between an offensive lineman and a wide receiver,
But they've gone over that.
They've gone over it, but they'll just go over it. To make sure.
When we say Jerry, is Jerry still that guy that's overriding draft picks and things of that nature?
No.
So,
I think to his credit, I think he gets a bad rap for that. Because I think through the years, and especially maybe more so recent years, I don't know. I mean, he really takes to heart, what the scouts and the coaches say, and tries to make the prudent decision on it.
Yeah, and I think he talked about it on Tuesday because he said, everybody writes this and that, and the misconception is when we make a decision, it'll be 10 people have a say on it. And
there's a reason that
on.
Everyone thinks that.
Right.
And that didn't come out of nowhere.
Well,
we can go back to the 90s and 2000s.
Right, exactly.
And then that's the persona that he put out there. So all of a sudden to say,
and I think
it's a misnomer. Well, you started that misnomer.
Well, and I think it has to do with the personality of the head coach.
Right.
Too. And for instance, Parcells said he wanted to be a part of the whole thing, right? Wade Phillips
did not.
Not so, it's like whatever they give me, that's fine. Jason Garrett, he had a hand in it. He was big time, and it's in his blood. His dad being a scout,
and Jimmy, and obviously
and
Jimmy,
going back to Jimmy. And Barry, never mind.
Barry was just he was fine. He was fine.
He's a great evaluator of talent.
Right.
We'll say that much.
And Wade was kind of the.
Oh, sure.
And Wade was kind of the same way. But I thought Jerry, he kind of talked about it, and one of the things he pointed out, and I thought it was a good quote. He said that if you give others credit, you can conquer the world. And he said he had this little quote on his desk. And he sort of does. It's not like, okay, we got to do, the story about Manziel got exaggerated, right? Jerry had the card in his hand. Well, no, the card's in New York. It ain't in his hand. Right? So that whole thing. And
part of the job of the guy who's making the decision is
paying the check.
Is to present all scenarios too.
Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
And that's why at the last minute, while you're on the clock, you might have the position coaches there.
Right. And they do. They'll call the guy in before they make.
Or
the pick.
Leading up to your pick.
It's like, okay,
you can see
here's where we're going. What do you think? And give me some more information on him. They do a very good job of listening to Will McClay. And so, I just think that just.
Have we heard much from Will?
He's done a couple of interviews, not many.
We don't usually hear much from Will.
Yeah, you don't.
In-house, and he would rather it that way.
All right.
But
I've called him a couple of times. Yeah,
but he has a big say. I mean, he has a big say.
Of course he does.
Right?
Yes.
And so, and even people, and Jerry reminded everybody that Stephen's been doing this for 33 years.
I was going to say, Stephen is the
might
one
have
that
learned
really,
something along the way, all that
you
stuff
could tell
about
Stephen's
there's no
smart.
football guys, right?
Stephen's print is on a lot of these decisions.
A lot of the decisions on the cap, too.
Right.
He just doesn't get any blame, right?
I think he likes it like that.
Yeah.
Keep putting Dad on the hot seat. I can do my business over here.
He's fine with not getting credit because when you don't get credit, you don't get blame, right? Yeah.
What is the overriding most important thing that needs to happen with the 24th pick in the first round?
It's like I said, it needs to be a walk-in starter.
Okay.
Day one.
And so it doesn't matter what position. It needs to be a walk-in starter.
Yes.
I agree with that. Because, there's so many mock drafts saying Zion Johnson or Kenyon Green, offensive guard.
Right.
But if there is a player that you've got ranked higher, substantially higher, than either one of those guys who can come in and be a walk-in starter for you.
Get him.
Because there are guards that you can get in the second, third, fourth round who can also actually come in and be a walk-in starter for you.
But you don't want to draft him in the first round.
I take him in because I can get a guard in the second.
That's so discriminatory.
Okay.
I don't understand that. You got a guy that can come in at guard that can be an immediate starter. And if he's in the first round, you're like, never mind.
I gave you.
But if he's in the second round, I'll take it.
Okay, I'll give you the two reasons why.
Okay.
Number one, you always follow the money, right? Guards are probably 8th in line for how much they get paid around the league. And secondly, in the history of the Dallas Cowboys, in the first round, they've taken 2 guards. Two. John Nyland and Zach Martin in the first round.
Those turned out pretty good picks.
And they all turned out pretty good.
So what does that mean?
My point is they haven't put
a point you're making.
Imagine if they would have taken more guards.
Right.
That's my point. That's my point.
They've won 5 Super Bowls just kind of finding a guard, right? Go ask Nate Newton, right?
See? I mean, come on.
You found one. He was a USFL
It's just
cast-off.
not a whole bunch of them out there. It's not a bunch of Nate Newtons out there.
Right.
Okay? So you can't just act like you can just find them anywhere.
But when you're looking at offensive linemen.
They're not low-hanging fruit.
But when you're looking for offensive linemen, what's your priority? Tackle. What's the next priority? Center. Okay, the rest of you guys are guards.
See, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I thought guards were respected.
Well, if
you start talking about the money situation, so now you're getting down off into the DB status. So if you're looking at the defensive back, they don't pay much for DBs.
All the cornerbacks do.
The cornerbacks do. So if you got safety out there who's a stud, you don't want to draft him in the first round because
he better be a real stud.
Who's out there like that?
The safety from Notre Dame.
Kyle Hamilton.
Can he come in and start?
Nick Cross is a real stud.
Come in and start?
Right.
Come in and start?
Yes.
Come in.
But Cross is like second, third?
He's projected as a second round. Second to third round.
And
pick.
can still come in and start.
In my opinion.
He could challenge for it.
In my opinion.
And I think the second guy's got a challenge for a starting job.
So you wouldn't take him first round?
Probably not. Unless it's the.
When you start talking about trends,
I know
trends can kiss my butt.
I know.
Because trends don't get you a damn
But
thing.
the guy's got to be really special to do that, right?
True.
And if you follow the money at safety, unfortunately, it's not that high. The other thing they need is a kicker.
No, fifth round. Fifth round. That's as high as we go. So kickers.
So one of those
if you
4
got a great
fifth-round
kicker
picks
in the third round. I mean, you know this guy's a stud.
Somebody asked me that had the Cowboys ever drafted a kicker, and it's like, well, Nick Folk, Beeler, and then I started going through all the drafts. They've drafted over the years like 9 kickers. Some of these guys you never heard of.
The
right?
Cowboys.
They never became anything.
The Cowboys.
But yeah,
wow.
they've drafted kickers. Back in the day, like in the 60s,
okay,
the 70s, a couple of years they drafted them one after another. A couple of years.
Well, Gil probably thought they were great athletes and they could come in and do something.
Max
what Gil did.
Max Zendejas, do you remember him?
Yes, of course I remember Zendejas.
Sure. I believe that was 86.
That was the bounty on the Zendejas.
Right.
Well, was it that Zendejas or was that a different Zendejas?
It was Luis.
Luis is the one.
Yeah.
I think
that was my teammate.
They were the kicking Zendejases, like the flying Luendas.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Like the Grammaticas.
Max Zendejas was a 4th-round pick.
Yes.
In 1986.
Yes.
Holy cow. Was he the highest?
Well, in 86, though, there was still.
He was the 100th pick in the draft.
There was 12 picks, right? They'd gone
12 rounds.
12 rounds. Yeah. Well, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Didn't come out the way you wanted.
Fourth round, 100th pick in the draft was Max Zendejas, kicker. Wow. No wonder we fell in hard times there in the late 80s.
Yeah. Well, there's no talent in the draft, obviously. No talent in the draft.
So I'm just wondering.
That 86 draft was Mike Sherrard in the first round, Darryl Clack in the second. Mark Whalen in the third, Max Zendejas in the fourth. Thornton Chandler is in the sixth round.
That's my boy. He just called me. He just called me this morning. Yes, he did.
All right. Garth Jacks in the 11th round.
Garth is crazy.
He's turned into a great country western singer.
Yeah.
All right.
Garth Jacks made he made his.
That's a bad joke.
That is a bad
That's
joke.
awful. That's why I was going to go right by it. I didn't even want to give him credit for a bad joke, right?
He could have been a good linebacker.
He made his name on the replacement team.
Garth did?
Jacks.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
I think he ended up going to the Cardinals for later on in his career.
By the way, speaking of Garth Brooks, do you remember in the 80s his concert at Texas Stadium when he went flying through the...
I believe it was the 90s. But
It was in the 90s? Oh, it was in the 90s. Early 90s.
Yeah.
Early 90s. You remember that?
Yes.
Okay.
Were you there?
I was there, yes.
I thought
Sitting
he was
up high in the rafters.
I thought he was going to give us some great story.
I was hoping he was covering it. Not
He's having a
paying
concert.
To go.
This is a tie-in to AT&T or maybe it's Globe Life Field. I'm not sure.
AT&T Stadium.
AT&T Stadium.
I bet he won't be flying around at this age.
July 30th.
July 30th concert. Okay,
come down from
we
the
interviewed
big
him. Some of the people at CBS 11 interviewed him at leading up to that a week or so ago, previewing this concert and ticket sales and so forth. And so I mentioned to Doug Dunbar, our anchor, I said that I went to a concert, Garth Brooks. He was flying through the air at Texas Stadium, whatever. And then Doug Dunbar says, well, Karen Borda and I, we did a live broadcast from Texas Stadium when they blew up the place. I said, yeah, I was there for that too.
Yeah.
And then I said,
what was the tie-in?
I don't know. It was Texas Stadium was the tie-in.
I've been at Texas Stadium when they won an NFC title game.
So then I re-upped him. Well, as a kid, I used to ride my bike down to Texas Stadium when it was under construction. So there, I win. So anyway.
Oh, my God.
All right,
TV
this is what
people.
happens on draft day morning when you're delirious from filling up a big green notebook. All right, we continue with more Mick Shots in a moment.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with...
And I'm Jay Novacek, and we're both with...
United Ag and Turf, the official tractor provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
So, if you need a tractor to bale some hay, a mower to cut some grass, or a gator to get some chores done...
Get a John Deere at United Ag and Turf.
And then, let's get to work.
Hey, Jay, that's my line.
Well, not today.
Get to work with a John Deere tractor package that's just right for you and your budget. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar, and a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
Back to Mick Shots.
Whether you're watching from home or cheering in the stands with Essilor lenses, you'll see every exciting play. Book an appointment at your local Essilor experts and find the perfect Essilor lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor. Mm-hmm. Hey, and let me give you one little Mick shot thanks to the Cowboys PR department.
Okay.
Since 2010, Dallas has selected 16 players that have gone on to make at least one Pro Bowl. The most in the NFL over that span.
Really?
Second, Kansas City and Minnesota with 15. How about that?
That's nice.
Since when?
2010.
2010.
So that would have been Dez, right?
And Sean Lee.
And Sean Lee. Also, the Cowboys picks spanning the previous 19 drafts since 2002 have been selected to 84 Pro Bowls, 28 different players. and that is 12 more than any other team over that span. Kansas City second at 72.
As we get more into, present times, I wouldn't. That might be based on popularity more than.
But not the All Pro thing.
All Pro thing, true. Pro
right?
Bowl, yes.
Most All-Pro draft picks since 2010. Dallas 9, San Francisco 7, Kansas City, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Rams, and Ravens 6.
And the other thing that happens on the Pro Bowl more recently is the opt-outs of the Pro Bowl, and so there are more people making the Pro Bowl than in years
But
gone by.
that applies for all the other teams too.
That's
though,
right.
Right.
That's true. That's true. But
something to be thought of.
Yeah. All right.
And that doesn't count like finding Tony Romo, although I don't know if he ever got to. He probably went to a Pro Bowl, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, he was always in line behind.
Was he drafted?
He was at least 4.
No, he was not
He was not
drafted.
drafted?
Yeah.
4 Pro Bowls for
4?
Tony.
Okay.
Yep. Everson, you want to do what you want to do here?
Yes. I got this from Yahoo. They have Remembering News and Radio executive Jerry Lopes. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Sheridan family, Sheridan, black family that started their own radio network, a Sheridan Broadcasting Network, SBN. That's amazing to me because they gave me my first shot. I had
doing this stuff?
No, not this crap. I'm talking about real job. No, they actually had the Sheridan Broadcasting All-American Bowl game, which gave black college players like myself who didn't get drafted, we weren't even highly thought of, so we were able to have our own All-Star game, All-American game in Jackson, Mississippi.
That's why I knew.
1980. It was freezing out there in January or something, and I recall there were 1,500 people in the stands.
1,500.
1,500 people in Jackson Stadium, Jackson Memorial Stadium, Mississippi Memorial Stadium. And so went from there. They had all kinds of All-American teams. They had guys like Doug Williams and James Shaq Harris who were toting the torch for to make sure that people understood how important they were for HBCU players. So this man has died at the age of 72 of natural causes, but he was extremely instrumental in my development as a person as well. We had one event where remember the Potomac, the planes crashed into the Potomac that time? Mm-hmm. Well, it held up, of course. It was tragedy, of course, but it also held up traffic to where, airline traffic to where the MC for the event couldn't make it. So here I am, just after the San Francisco game, the catch game, and I had to go there and fill in as an MC.
No way!
Because the other guys couldn't make it because the crash caused
they couldn't get the plane there.
And I met a guy there named Armstrong Williams. I don't know if you guys ever heard of him. He's like a right-wing black guy who is still to this day is extremely popular on the right side. And it was a great development for me because I had to be the MC. And Armstrong Williams, I had never done that crap before.
You're 24 years old.
21 years old. 21 years old, like being MC for this event. I'm like, I don't even know these people. They just invited me. And so Armstrong Williams wrote out just some notes for me.
A script.
A little script. Because he could see me sitting there sweating bullets. So he helped me out. Jerry Lopes also helped me out. And I did a great job. I came up, and first thing they said was, "Hey, tell a joke." So I went up there and I told a joke, and it went well. And from then on, I was, flying on through. So it was just a good development for me as a person. Of course, they helped me out in my career, in my college career, and they helped out many other HBCU players to get that Sheridan Broadcasting All-American game. Now it has morphed into the HBCU or Black College Hall of Fame game and Hall of Fame awards as well. So what we have is them starting something with the American Urban Radio Network. Once they started that, we kind of morphed into what we have now, to where we're still noticing and players that from HBCUs that don't necessarily get the coverage that the PWIs get. So. No, I just had to mention that. Jerry Lopes is a good guy. At 72 years old, died of natural causes. Great guy. Fought for a lot of black journalists out there, going all the way up to the White House. He just did a great job. And he influenced so many people. So just sad to see him go, and just had to remember all the things that Sheridan family did for us, and also Jerry Lopes. He did a great job. He did a great job for a lot of people.
All right, the American Urban Radio Networks.
AURN.
That's right. The nation's only African-American owned and controlled radio network for many years.
That's right, Sheridan Broadcasting.
So thanks to Bill Jones, and we talked about it last Friday, he mentioned a guy, and I went back and looked at his highlight films. And I'm all in on Christian Watson.
There you go. Christian Watson.
Remember we talked about him? He was 6'4" and ran a 4.36 at the combine.
Right.
Someone listened to me.
Well, how could you not listen to that?
I went back.
I was already there.
I went back and looked at that, and it left my jaw dropping how he was running by people. Not people that had an angle on him. He was running by people that were side by side, and he just split them and went right down the middle, past them all, and they were losing ground as he was getting closer to the goal line.
Okay, so where do you want to draft him?
I'd like to use my second round on him, but you know what? I just saw a mock draft that had him in the first.
That's right. So would you take him at 24?
Yes, I absolutely would.
Hallelujah. He's been my guy all along.
Oh man!
Finally.
I don't care that he was playing FCS or whatever it is.
That's right.
Right, FCS. North Dakota State.
I go back to 2008. I mean, this guy reminds me of Jordy Nelson.
Yeah, you said that.
I remember that.
I go back to 2008, and the Cowboys had 2 first-round draft picks, had a great need for a cornerback and a running back, took Mike Jenkins, took Felix Jones. Jordy Nelson went early second round to the Green Bay Packers. And what happened that year, the Cowboys in 2008, they get to midseason, and they needed a wide receiver so badly that they traded at midseason for Roy Williams, giving up the 2009 first-round draft pick. And how awful was the 2009 draft as it turned out for the Cowboys? Drafted 11 guys, and only one of them, I think, turned out to be anything. John Phillips, a tight end, whatever, in the 5th round or whatever. All right, but the point being, in April, we didn't think we really needed a wide receiver, and then 6 months later, lo and behold, we needed a wide receiver so badly that we gave up a first-round pick the next year to do it, And obviously the team needs a wide receiver right now, but it's a great illustration, I think. And by the way, in 2009, had the Cowboys had that first-round draft pick, you know who they could have drafted for Wade Phillips' defense? Clay Matthews.
Yeah, I was going to say not James Williams, huh?
Yeah. Clay Matthews, who with Wade Phillips' history in Houston, that would have been one pick he would have been pounding the table for. And of course, who got Clay Matthews? It was the Packers. Packers were playing in the Super Bowl the next year. So.
And this guy can return kicks too, by the way, even though he's 6'4".
Right, and so could Jordy Nelson.
Yeah. So
and Clay Matthews.
That's my guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Now listen.
You're on board.
That's a good deal because once again, I love these little fast guys. But we have to get
6'4".
We need more physical wide receiver, and that's what it's getting to. You've got the Tyreek Hills, of course, and we've still got some of the smaller receivers. But when you start talking about a big receiver that can make an impact, getting off the line of scrimmage, he won't always be open, but he will always have a chance to catch the ball.
That's Drake London, too, the USC guy.
Yes. Because if you throw it up.
Oh, yeah, I saw that, too. Yeah.
If you throw it up, he might be open.
He might be open.
Right.
That's my point.
The other thing I notice is taking place right now is everybody's picking up their well, not everybody, I think maybe 10 so far, are picking up their 5th-year option on the first-round picks from 2019. And I was going, what did they didn't have a draft choice in 2019 because they gave it up for Amari Cooper. Well, they didn't get 5 years out of that first-round pick. They got 3.5.
At a high cost.
Right. And so your deal with first-round picks, you want to get 5 years. Mm-hmm. And they didn't get it because they gave up the pick in what was mid-season 2018, right?
Still was a good sign for us, though.
No, it was, but you would like
that
5 years, right? It did. It saved the season.
But if you would have drafted Juju Smith-Schuster that year, then in 2017,
you sure? You sure?
You might not have had.
You sure? Yeah, you might not. Yeah, you might not. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm just going to throw out Christian Watson.
Well, the good thing about this draft is it's obvious the team has needs across the board. Right. So there are no disguised needs on this team right now. You know,
we don't have that luxury at this point.
Mm-hmm. And that's because it's been different this offseason as far as the free agent signings, the lack of free agent signings the Cowboys have made. Mm-hmm. Now, that doesn't mean, as Stephen Jones has been quick to point out in every press briefing he's had, that free agency isn't over. And so it's the way it's played out in free agency. Just take the offensive line. There are 10 offensive guards and 10 offensive tackles who haven't found jobs, who are veteran free agents out there right now, who started. They started.
They're not
last
the second teamers, Spags.
I know.
I see where your head is.
Do you want me to
already.
give you some names? Because I did write 5 of them down.
Okay.
And I don't know if they were listed in this list in order. Eric Flowers.
Former first-round draft pick, right. Eric Flowers.
And he flamed out. Mm-hmm. Trey Hopkins, Trey Turner, Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, and Quentin Spain, who started for the Cincinnati Bengals, and they didn't want him back.
You know,
and they made the Super Bowl.
Just because you say it in that kind of cheeky manner, the way you
started.
I wouldn't know if they're good or not.
Everson started for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Right.
You know how bad the Bengals are.
They're horrible.
Well, their offensive line was.
Horrible.
They made it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Somehow, by some damn miracle, with that offensive line.
If you had that offensive line and you went to the Super Bowl, you'd be fine, right?
You should be.
And they're restructuring the whole deal.
That's right. That's right.
They're probably taking. Are they listed to take an offensive lineman?
All right,
I bet they are.
I'll throw some other.
I bet they'll take a guard too.
They have to. Quentin Spain was their starter.
Now they will take a guard in the first round.
But you're right. You can bring in a veteran guy, and you probably can get him for 1 year and whatever.
I got Darrell Williams is one. Started for Buffalo last year. 17 starts out of Lake Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
There's one for you right there that you didn't mention.
I guess
that's because he was looking at pessimism. He wasn't looking at optimism.
No, he probably was down farther on the list when I called it up.
Then you got J.C. Treader, who has a history with this coaching staff, who's
I read
cap casualty in Cleveland. He's got an injury issue. I think.
Yes, he does.
Started 16 games last year.
He didn't practice hardly all season because of his injuries.
How about you want Zach Martin's brother?
Center guard.
Really?
He's available.
Nick Martin.
Is he really?
Yep.
No, is he really Zach's brother?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was.
He played at Houston.
He was a second-round draft pick of the Texans in 2016.
Oh, did not know that.
Yep. Started 62 games there.
See, and that goes to my premise on the guard. The guard's got to be able to play tackle, and if you draft a center, he has to play guard. You got to do both. So I need some, and actually Mike pointed it out about position flex. It's very important. He was talking about defensive linemen. Mm-hmm. Like, can you play the 3 technique or the 1 technique at defensive tackle? You want guys to do both, and he's always talked about position flex. Mm-hmm. So I think that's important on the offensive line.
Okay, final minute here. Our pick to click.
Christian Watson.
Pennington.
Pennington.
All right, so at 24, let's say the Cowboys stay at 24.
Right.
Who are you hoping the Cowboys pick at 24? Who is your pick to click?
I'm taking Christian Watson.
That's my guy. You can't take my guy, Christian Watson.
I got to come up with somebody else.
It wasn't until the last few minutes you decided he was a first-round pick.
Not the last few minutes. It was the next day when I looked him up and watched.
Can't take my guy.
Who's your guy?
Christian Watson.
Okay, who's your
you
guy?
don't know who's available. I'll take Olave.
Who is he?
Wide receiver, Ohio State. He'll be gone.
Nice.
And he can. It looked like he can play all three positions.
And if he's gone,
well, you didn't ask me that.
Yeah, man. Come on. Wait a minute. What are we doing
Let
here?
me look at my list.
He's just not going to say a guard. There's no way.
He will not say that.
No. If it's a guard, it's got to be Zion.
I like Kenyon Green.
Kenyon Green. I've read things
about his knee.
His knee.
Yeah,
and it's somewhat
good. We'll get him in the second round.
Well, maybe. But I think the concern is you're not going to get 5 years. You might not get 5 years out of him.
How many years you get out of Ron Leary?
Ron Leary wasn't drafted.
Right. But he was your starting guard.
But he ended up. But in the end, his knee did give out.
Not here.
Not
he
here.
was fine here on the greatest offensive.
In the end, his knee gave out. Almost everyone's knee gives out in the end.
Hey, remember, Leary was projected as a first rounder at the time as well, and he fell right
out of the draft.
And he fell right into the starting lineup for the greatest offensive line ever assembled in 2016. We don't care if his knee gives out in Denver.
But he wasn't a first-round pick. You can't.
But as it turns out, if you went back and redrafted and looked at their careers, you was Ronald Leary. That's a good pick at 24 in the first round.
Yeah,
we only need 4 or 5 years out of it. We don't need 14.
If you were going to take that chance,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
and so I'm
going for the small school guys, man. Pennington's my guy, dude. He's my guy.
Zion Johnson, I wouldn't because I
Trevor
think
Penning, he'll be gone. You got to trade up for him.
Yeah.
Zion Johnson, he can play center or guard, and maybe tackle. Who knows?
Okay.
So that would be if they were at that spot. The wide receivers were wiped out. Defensive ends of any note were wiped out.
I'm on the record. I'll trust Kenyon Green.
Okay.
If I'm going guard, but Christian Watson otherwise. All right, that does it.
Well, we're done already.
We're not done. The day is just beginning.
It has.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, enjoy the coverage here on DallasCowboys.com, and we will talk at you. Oh, wow. Bill, this will be way in our rearview mirror the next time we talk.
But we're still going to dredge it up.
That's right. That's next Thursday at 11:30 on Mick Shots.
We'll find out if we knew anything, right?
Yeah, well, we know we don't.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?